Hello, who's this? Hey everybody, my name is Savannah and welcome back to my booktube channel. So today I wanted to do the unpopular opinions book tag because I love these sort of negative and judgmental book reviews, that kind of thing. I know it's possible I could offend someone, but like understand, I don't have you in mind when I'm saying these are my opinions. They are not like facts. They're literally just how I feel about things, and I'm definitely going to talk about some beloved books. If you can't handle that, you should probably peace out. Also, really quick, I wanted to apologize for not posting a video last week. It was spring break, and I expected to have a lot more free time, but my parents came to visit, and that did not happen. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first question is a popular book series that I did not like, and now I actually have a couple answers for this. The first one is going to be the Mara Dyer series by Michelle Hodkins. What this ended up feeling like is she had a good idea for a first book that was decently executed, and then she tried to make it into a trilogy, and she didn't have anywhere to go with it because as the books go on, it's increasingly into like conspiracy theory type feelings, and so it's just like, it's the government, man, and there's like some secret organizations, man, and like voodoo kings, man. It got really weird really fast, and it just really went downhill. And not only that, but there were like unnecessary triggers, which like I know a big theme in the book is like mental illness, but like it seemed just to really push that insensitively and like never really dealt with any of it at all. And then the relationship was bullshit. It was just not a good time. Another book series is the Fallen Kingdom series by Morgan Rhodes. I read the first book and I have no interest in continuing. Basically what I've heard from a lot of people is the first book isn't great, and then the series gets way better, but then I think around the fourth book it goes way downhill, and then the conclusion is just okay. So like I was kind of interested in maybe continuing if I found out that the conclusion was going to be like amazing, but it's not, and so I don't really want to. And not only that, but just like it just seemed really standard. It didn't do anything new or interesting. It wasn't even that fast of a read for me, so like I don't really see why I'd invest my time. So the next question is a popular character that everyone else hates but I love. So spoilers for the Throne of Glass series. If you haven't read up to at least the third book, you should probably peace out for a second. I'll take down the image of the cover when I'm done talking about it if you want to stick around. But for this, I really liked Celaena Sardothien and Aelin both. Now, what I see a lot of people talking about is that they really like Celaena, but as soon as she makes the transition to Aelin in the third book, that stops. And I disagree. I really enjoy them both for very different reasons, and I think people are too hard on Aelin. And I think a lot of the reasons why people liked Celaena are still present in Aelin. They just don't really like where the series is headed. There's always two people. There's people who like the first two books and that sort of area, and then there's people who like the expanded universe after the third book. And I'm definitely one of the latter, if that makes sense. A book or series where the main character ended up with the wrong person. Now, this is going to come as no surprise to anybody, but it's Alina and the Darkling. Everything about the Darkling is better than Maul. Maul is literally the worst, and I have so many thoughts about this. I also have conspiracy theories, and closer to the release of King of Scars, or whatever the next iteration of the Grishaverse is going to be, I'll probably do a crack theories video in which I talk about this. The next question is a genre I do not read or do not read often. And so for this, I actually have two answers, the first of which is contemporary. And now this is what I'm working on because there's just not enough, because one of my main goals was to read more diversely, and there's a lot more diversity in the contemporary genre than there is young adult fantasy. So that's something I definitely want to work on. But another genre, sort of subgenre I have a problem with is steampunk. I always think I'm going to like steampunk, and I very rarely do. There's two exceptions to this that I can think of, and that is The Alchemists of Loom by Elise Kova, which is heavily steampunk, but it doesn't feel like it. And I think part of that is because the part of steampunk I don't like is often when it's like intermixed with like specific like Victorian culture, which I just tend not to enjoy so much. And then the other one is the Falconer series by Elizabeth May, but with that one, the steampunk aspect is pretty minimal, and so it just doesn't interfere with the rest of the story. A popular character I do not like. So for me, this actually goes for the entire cast of the Hunger Games series. Katniss, Peeta, and Gale are all so boring and so fucking obnoxious, especially Peeta though, honestly. That whole thing where he'd be like, Katniss, you can't make decisions without telling me. By the way, we're on live TV and we're getting married and also you're pregnant. Like, fuck you, okay? Fuck you. Basically, the only characters in the Hunger Games I gave a shit about were Haymitch and Effie. They were the only ones that were even a little interesting to me, but like, it's just not worthwhile for me, you know? So for this question, I'm gonna go with John Green. One, don't read contemporary, as I said, but two, I've tried reading his books and I just don't find them interesting, and the writing feels slimy to me, like it all just feels like a big pat on the back to him. And I don't know, I'm not interested in it. There's better shit out there. It's not for me. A tired trope. So for this one, I'm gonna go with girl on girl hate and slut shaming. It was never okay, but like especially now, I'm just so fucking done with it. I just hate it. I really do. Um, this is one that, I mean, everybody knows what I'm talking about. There'll be like a slutty girl and then like the pure virginal main character who like sits there and judges her, or like the girl who puts other girls down for like liking shopping and traditionally female things. I just don't have time for it. It's done. A popular book series that I'm not interested in. So for this, I'm actually gonna go with the basically everything written by Maggie Stiefvater. I actually own the full Raven cycle as well as all the Crooked Saints. I'm just not interested in starting it. One, Maggie Stiefvater has been pretty problematic in recent times. If you don't know what I'm talking about, literally just Google it before you come at me. Two, she's also not very nice to fans. Like, she comes after fans who make fan art and that kind of thing, which, like, just let people enjoy things. Three, there's so many book series I want to read that I don't really want to invest myself in this one, especially because I've never been interested in it. And the only reason why I was interested in it is because everyone else seems to love it, but that's not really enough for me. So I'm just not gonna go there. An adaptation that was better than the book. So for this, I'm gonna go with The Lord of the Rings because I love the movies a lot, and I've tried to read the books and I've been unsuccessful every time, mostly because I just don't like Tolkien's writing. I think he's brilliant and I have so much admiration for him. His world building is great. I love his cultures, all of that. I love the story. His writing just doesn't do it for me. It doesn't get me invested. I feel like I just can't really connect, and I feel like this is a type of world that you really need to be immersed in, and his writing doesn't do that for me, so, you know.